Welcome to DC.
And here it comes. Swing and a miss. And a World Series Game 7 winning Curly W is in the books.
Dagger! It's 1974. The Washington Capitals are the 2018 Stanley Cup champions.
Don't like that. I like that.
You gotta like that, right?
Despite all this, despite the churn, my approval ratings keep going up.
We are ready to give our 500% support back to this franchise, back to this city, back to this team after Snyder leaves. And then this is the poo-poo you put on the field.
For the very first time, the Washington Mystics are WNBA champions.
The Washington Commanders select Jaden Daniels.
I'm going to support fake teams that can't ruin my life.
Did you call bank? I call game.
Thank you. Sorry to keep you waiting. Complicated business.
Well, FP, the postseason basically has arrived here in DC, and it is crazy time here in the district. Happy New Year to you, my friend. Happy New Year to everyone that is out there listening. This is we're rounding basically 350 episodes at this point, which is kind of incredible considering both how long we've been doing this, and I think our show has just morphed so many different times now over the years. It's actually crazy to see. There was quite a bit of just stuff that came in that I was reading and kind of looking back at where we started. FP, it seems like just forever ago, but it's 2025 officially. Happy New Year out there to everybody, and I'm going to officially say for the first time, hail to the Redskins in 2025. I'm going to play the music. It's just going to come up whenever I feel like it, basically during the show. So just get used to it, I guess.
Now or never, baby.
Let's talk about what happened on Sunday. I mean, it seems like an eternity ago. The playoff picture, we'll talk about all that, but I mean, Sunday was incredible. I don't know what else to say. Kirk was in the building, right? I have a soft spot for Kirk. I love Kirk. Even though Goose ran him out of town all those years ago, I still cheer for him. Like I'm never gonna cheer against him. And it was kind of sad to see him basically on the sideline, helmet on, ready to go, coaching Penix up, doing whatever. But in the end, it doesn't really matter. I mean, the story is Jaden 100 times out of 100. I don't know. There's nothing to say about Kirk except thank you for once upon a time. It's Jaden's town. Town's on fire, and we are playoff bound.
Honestly, I mean, listen, Happy New Year's, but I don't think my resting heart rate has come back from that game still. Just the game alone was insane to watch. From before kickoff, right? Like the whole Northwest Stadium blackout light show.
I loved it.
Like we're finally mimicking like the real franchises, the Ravens and whoever with home field advantage and hyping up the fans and the players coming out hype. It's so refreshing. And Kirk on the sideline, it's almost like a perfect like metaphor closure of how far this franchise has come.
I felt the same
with the ownership and down. I mean, even the post game, the locker room celly where AP comes out and gives the ball to Harris. Like it's just top to bottom. This is a completely different situation, and it's even completely different from that 2012 season that we all hold so dearly. With Daniels getting the rushing record and just the passing of the guard, everything like books and chapters closing left and right with this season, and it's so nice to see.
I think we're officially done with the 2012 season, right? I mean, there is.
Yeah, I don't want to hear about it anymore.
I'm in the same boat. It was what it was 10, 12 years ago, 13 years ago now. That chapter is over, right? I mean, I would love to bring the name back and the logo, all that stuff.
For sure.
Fine. Put all that aside. Jaden, in the same amount of games as RG3, has surpassed him in every statistical category of note. Jaden, right now, with a game to go in the season, has surpassed Lamar's MVP numbers from 2 seasons ago. Jaden, right now, should be in the conversation for league MVP. Not rookie of the year, which I think you can still make a case for Knicks.
I mean, he had a great game, but yeah.
He did. But in reality, Jaden should be it's a conversation really of 4 or 5 people. It's Lamar, It's Derrick Henry, it's Saquon, it's Josh Allen, and it should be Jaden Daniels. And frankly, the fact that you've got two Ravens in the conversation should basically disqualify both of them.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
I would
So
agree
you're
with
left
that.
you're left with Allen, Saquon Barkley, and Jaden Daniels. And really it's gonna come down to me anyway, what happens on Sunday. I hope the Eagles let Saquon go for it.
He's
Sirianni's
resting
wild.
already. I think they just said he's resting.
I really hate that decision, right? I mean, I understand Sirianni and
It's such a hard record to break. You should let him break it, especially over the Giants.
Well, I'm a fan. Like, what does he want to do, right?
Right.
Saquon, and I'm look. We hate the Eagles, but I do love Saquon.
I agree.
And this guy from the beginning, he's the ultimate hype machine. He's always on the sideline cheering on his teammates. There's many examples this year where he's continuing to hype Jalen or Gainwell or the guys
all the young guys. Yeah.
If he wants to go for it, give him a half and let him go for it. Like he is capable of 150 yards in a half. He's capable.
We know firsthand that he's capable of that.
Yes.
And listen, as much as we hate the Eagles, that O-line, you don't get 2,000 yards rushing without an amazing O-line. And that O-line, if Saquon's like, boys, I want to go for this record, they will play their asses off for him and they will go for that record. But I am going to stop this conversation because I hate the Eagles. I hope they die. I hope they all get injured. I don't want to talk to them about
Yes, qualify. Yeah. Got it.
But first of all, there's one thing I want to mention before I forget it, and then I'm going to close the book on RG3 forever. During the Sunday night game, after Jaden beat the rookie rushing record, QB, whatever, they showed side-by-side footage of RG3 running and Jaden running. And LP actually pointed this out. If you see the quality of the field the RG3 was running on, and they showed it against like his Saints game or whatever, his first game, so early September, to Jaden running Sunday night, the quality of the field, night and day. Like just the small things that this ownership has done after Snyder left, like the field for late December. I don't know if you're paying attention on that game. It looked miraculous, right? It wasn't a mud bowl. We all thought it was going to be terrible because of the rain. That field held up great. And that's exactly kind of what you need. These little things that from the top bottom are getting right helps this team overcome so much when they're going to make a playoff push. And it's just something I noticed, but I there's a lot to complain about from what we saw on Sunday. I don't want anyone to think it was a good game. We should have put the Falcons away way earlier.
Yeah.
Flowers to Penix. Like he is going to be a good quarterback.
I'm torn on Penix. His windup and release is really long.
It is
really long.
And his mechanics look
like
awkward.
He's got a big windup, FP. Like huge hands and a lot of velocity, especially that touchdown to Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
That's a player. That's a name I'll never say again in a fantasy draft, by the way. But aside from that, he will be okay. I think jury's out on him, right? Obviously, we've seen him 2 weeks in a row. We'll see what he does next week. Atlanta's still alive from a playoff perspective, but the mechanic, like the windup, is really long, right? You see, it's starkly different than Jaden's. Jaden has that effortless, deep ball. Every quarterback kind of has their mark, so to speak. Penix, there's a lot. There's no touch, no English on the ball, right? These are bullets. And to his credit, I mean, they're connecting in.
Yeah, once he gets that chemistry and that timing down with his receivers, I mean, the Falcons will be a force. At the very least, in the NFC South, they will be hard out next season.
Sure. I mean, yeah, that division will be.
I mean, Bijan is insane.
Yes, but Drake London is also a matchup problem.
Yeah.
And like the comment that came in, right, is the Commanders won, but was it luck or something else? I don't know.
A little something else. I think Jaden, time and time again, I mean, he has the NFL season record of touchdowns in the last 30 seconds or overtime. Like, it's just, he is so calm, cool, and collected under pressure.
Yeah.
And he's just showing, like, this is what it must feel like the Patriots of the Patriot fans of the 2000s and the Chiefs, and just having that guy that comes out there and you're like, if we get the ball back, we can win. We can score. We can do whatever we need to do. And Jaden, in his rookie season, is like, I got you. I think every single one of us, the fan base, once we won that coin toss in overtime, I think all of us were like, we got it.
We knew. Like, not just chance, but game. Like, yeah. I felt very confident at that point. And it was more so because I felt like Cliff called a really good second half. They held onto the ball, even though the running game was non-existent. They dominated Atlanta in time of possession from the beginning of the third quarter and all of the fourth quarter, right? So I give Penix and the Falcons credit for doing a lot with about 5 minutes of possession in the entire second half. However, right, when we talk about luck or something else, Mike Davis doesn't belong on an NFL field.
I never want to see
the secondary. You honestly,
if I'm begging to see BSJ back, that tells you something.
I think I put it in the chat about halfway through the third quarter. I was like, I would rather BSJ get called for pass interference on every play, literally every play, than Mike Davis continue to try to pretend to be an NFL cornerback. I don't understand that move at all. Honestly, I know they cut Forbes like a millennia ago at this point, forever ago, but he would have been better. Anyone would have been better. You could have put Terry out there to play defense because he wasn't playing offense. And I'm sure you're going to get him on me for this, but that Mike Davis doesn't belong on an NFL roster. It's not a personal shot. It is what it is. He didn't belong out there. And Lattimore, it's too soon to say bust or not bust, and I'm not going there.
You can't say that yet.
He's under contract. He's a stud. He's under 30 years old. Hamstrings are problematic. And
any of those soft tissue injuries, they suck, right? They're terrible. But
he is here. He is here for A.J. Brown, who he didn't fare well against, Drake London, who he didn't play against, and next week CD, but CD's not playing, right? So you
look into the playoffs where he might have to be on Puka, he might have to be on Mike Evans, which is a storied rivalry.
Yeah, every time you say playoffs, I'm just gonna hit
it. I love it.
I'm just queued up, but you just hit the music every time you say playoffs. Hail to the Redskins. But I'm torn on what to do and what the team will do with Lattimore, because you could tell that secondary did not look good, and literally wherever Davis was. It's literally as if they went into the huddle and said, find 24, throw it right at him.
100. Yeah. Why wouldn't they? And listen, Lattimore, I don't know the severity of that injury, and we're never going to know the severity of that injury because DQ, as little coach speak as he typically does in his conferences, which I appreciate, he's not an idiot, right? He's not going to give it away and let us know what's happening. And he's got a little bit of Bill Belichick in him. It's just more personable, where you're not going to get the whole story. So honestly, like the Cowboys game is important for seeding, this and that. Like, obviously we want the 6th seed instead of the 7th seed, and that comes down to it. But with no CD, I would ride BSJ, Iggy, and Sandra still over that secondary, over those receivers for the Cowboys, and let Lattimore just rest up that much more for the playoffs.
Yes. The team momentum going into the playoffs, riding a 3-game win streak as opposed to a 1-game losing streak as you start the playoffs, I think it does make a difference. Seeding is still very much in play here, right? And we'll talk about the playoff picture at large here in a second, but just to close the loop kind of on Sunday, I want to talk about Jaden for just a second here. Like, at some point, right, and you've seen this with all of the if you go back, a generation or half generation, whatever, you got Mike Vick. Go back a generation and a half, guys like Dante Culpepper, and even before then, like the running quarterback is not new to the NFL.
Right.
Jaden does it effortlessly.
Yeah.
Right? And he does it really well. But he does take some shots. There was a collective, literal, silent moment, not
my
for
heart
Carter's passing, but for Jaden's knee being all Gumby and twisted up in the second quarter. So, yes, he can continue to run. At some point, though, you're gonna bracket coverage him and basically take that option away and force him to beat you with his arm, which he can do, except ... I don't know what happened to Terry McLaurin. You guys keep telling me number one. We did this whole thing both on the show and in the chat about Terry. We love Terry. I love Terry, but you can't go 1 for 5 on 7 targets and tell me, like, it doesn't matter. There's no game all season long where AJ was 1 for 1.
Listen,
for 7. There's no way.
okay. We'll say it once and we'll drop it forever. Nobody's saying that Terry is of the elite receivers. He is not an AJ Brown. He's not a Justin Jefferson. He's not a CD.
He's not
a Chase. He's not Mike. He is not those guys.
He's not Jerry Jeudy.
But he is.
Did you hear me?
He is right there. He's right there.
Okay.
The difference that you have to pay attention to, and when I say you, I mean you, specifically you.
Yes, okay.
And the rest of the fan base that doesn't understand this is when you see OZ go for whatever his stat line was, 6 receptions, 85 yards, and a tutty.
God. Oh, I'm going to throw up.
No, when you see those
commanding double coverage.
No, it's not commanding double coverage. He's commanding CB1. He's commanding the guy.
I'm sorry. I didn't know the Falcons had the best corner in the league.
They have a really good corner. Nobody's saying
best corner in the league.
No, but he is a shutdown corner by all definitions.
I don't understand the argument. He went up against a legit CB1 with Philly and had a great game.
Yeah. Okay.
Why poo poo in the national like why?
But why? Okay. We're shifting. We keep having this conversation. We're shifting from QBs that chuck up YOLO balls to QBs that are looking at the rest of the offense.
Argument against me, and I don't appreciate it.
We now have a quarterback that can make the second read.
Why wasn't the quarterback
spread the ball around?
His stud? I love Zach Ertz, but he shouldn't be out targeting or catching Terry.
Terry had the targets, and a lot of those misses are on Terry, and a lot of those misses are on Jaden. It happens. It's football. Move on with it. The point is, your rookie of the year, potential MVP rookie quarterback is making the reads he needs to make and spreading the ball around. And then this offense can then run and score and put up points when they need to put up points. Before, it was only Terry, and he would make those 50-50 catches. He would get those 50-50 balls. Terry, listen, the stats are there. Terry's doing what he needs to do. Can he do better? Sure. Can he suddenly explode and take over a game in the playoffs? Well within his range.
He exploded also well with 90-yard touchdown against the Cowboys.
Yeah, but it's also it's. I agree with you in that there's a lot more than you would like to see of his disappearing act. But I don't necessarily put that as a knock on Terry. I put that as that is who he is. He is still one of the best receivers in the league. He's not elite. He's just one of the best receivers in the league. And sometimes he's going to be covered out of getting those plays. It happens. It's a good thing to happen. It's a good thing to happen if your quarterback can look at the rest of the receivers. But when you have Sam Howell and if you have Heineke, and as soon as Terry's locked up,
I'm going to ask you
the offense stalls, then it's a problem.
Give me your answer on this. If the Skins go out and sign
100%, you need a wide receiver too, and I want T. Higgins.
Well, I was about to ask you, if T. Higgins is on this roster right now going into the playoffs, who's wide receiver 1?
T. Higgins.
Okay. So then Terry wouldn't be the best receiver on the team.
No.
Okay. So T. Higgins, who is a number 2 on his team, admittedly he's playing opposite Jamal.
I would say T. Higgins is basically a push with Terry.
Push?
Yeah. Hey, listen, let's put it this way. Let me put it this way. If Jamar Chase isn't on the field, is T. Higgins doing what T. Higgins is doing? No. If Jamar Chase
probably resembles Terry McLaurin.
No. If Jamar Chase is on the Washington football field, is Terry doing T. Higgins numbers? 1,000% yes. 1,000% yes.
You're saying if T is here,
if Jamar Chase is here,
yes,
does Terry put up T. Higgins like numbers or better?
Yeah. Because Jamar is like 1A. Like he's not number 1 on a team. He's like number 1 in the league.
So that means Terry McLaurin and T. Higgins are a push.
What I'm saying is T. Higgins getting added to this squad doesn't make T. Higgins the Noah replacement. It makes him the Terry replacement.
It makes Terry and T. Higgins an insane.
I would love to see it, right? Because
I don't think putting T. Higgins on the field makes Terry all of a sudden not a 1,000-yard receiver.
No,
I think it makes him a 1,400-yard receiver.
Yeah, I think it makes him better too.
Yeah.
I think it makes him better too. But if you need it'll be interesting to see how they handle that.
You need to get off Terry's back, man.
I'm trying.
You got to get off Terry's back.
A 1 for 5 on 7 targets is not.
You're giving me fantasy football championship complaints. Get off Terry's back. Without Terry, do you have 11 wins? No,
I don't have championship complaints. My team was 11-2.
Without Terry, do you have 11 wins? No.
No, of course not. Of course not. Right,
So
but I'm not killing him because I don't like him. I'm just saying, like this. I feel like we are consistently overhyping how good he is. He's great for us. He's the best on our team.
You are not acknowledging his greatness in relation to the rest of the NFL. You were stuck on the top 5 elite
have Terry
and only looking at those. Terry.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, I mean, it's fine. I'm not arguing with you. It's fine. Okay.
I got my phone going crazy. It's first of all, this Arizona State game, they tied it up. It's 24-24. So I'm going to be distracted a little bit. But we're nitpicking on the stupid. We are 11-5.
11-5 with
since 91. 11-5.
I really want 12 wins though. I went back and looked.
I love 12 wins.
You had him at 10 wins. Stevie had him at 7 wins. I had him at 11. Just saying. That was our beginning of the season.
And that was us being homers. We had no idea it was going to come.
We had no idea it was going to turn out like this. I will say that the strength of opponent for next year looks terrible by comparison to what we played this year. So, like, not to get too far ahead of ourselves here, but next year is going to be a gauntlet. I mean, you got the Chiefs potentially coming in.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
I'm with you.
What did Jaden say? My team versus anyone? Let's go.
Yeah. But I really do want Lattimore back though for the playoffs. I mean, I'm concerned.
But you also have to realize, like, you hate when I talk AP and Dan Quinn, but you give this man, he did not miss in the offseason, right? You give this man another free agency, another solid draft where he's hitting on every round. Why shouldn't teams be like, oh crap, we have to play Washington? Why is it us saying, oh crap, we have to play Kansas City?
I don't think they're scared of the Skins the way they would be of the Bengals, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I'm thinking more for free agency. Like, Jaden will bring the boys to the yard. People are going to want to.
If you're seeing this team make wild card, who's that? There's like the really good cornerback from the Jets. Opposite Sauce that's like, I want to test free agency. That's somebody that's if AP is like, hey, I'm the one that brought you in and drafted you with the Niners and you went to the Jets, whatever. I want you back on Washington. He'll be like, yes, I'm there 100%.
Yeah, and play him opposite Lattimore and move and move what's his face to the
Sanders still back to the slot.
Yeah. Sanders still. By the way, I know he had a terrible call at the end of that game. He played another solid performance from him.
I don't like complaining about the refs, and a lot of the penalties were on us, and we need to clean up the sloppy penalties, and we need to figure out what's going on with the run game. And I'm not going to give the O-line the typical excuse of we lost some guys and we were injured and all that, because it's been happening prior to that. But the discipline and the run game are two things that I need Dan Quinn to drill into this team, because even though those refs were, for the most part, they're kind of against us. They're kind of coddling the Falcons there a little bit. A lot of it was self-inflicted, and Jaden has done it over and over again. But I don't want Jaden to be our leading rusher.
Yeah,
I don't want Jaden to take over the game. I love that he can.
I actually don't want B-Rob to be the running back that leads the team the rest of the way either. I think I'm in on Rodriguez. I think I like the way he runs a little bit more right now.
I effing LP. I was on like a 2-hour tape delay with this game, so my phone was on D&D. We started watching the game at 10 p.m. Terrible. But as you were texting in one of our group chats that you need to change your pace, you got to go C-Rod, and all of a sudden C-Rod comes in and runs hard. We were saying the same thing on our side of, like, B-Rob is good and he's the hammer, but every time that he's getting stopped at the line or at 1 yard, you can see, and it was in high contrast as you're watching Bijan, he is one small jump step from breaking.
Yes.
And that's what C-Rod's bringing to the table is he's just that little bit shiftiness that
Yeah.
he needs. B-Rob's good.
You said it perfectly. B-Rob is the sledgehammer or the wrecking ball.
Yes.
C-Rod, Chris Rodriguez has more of like the ping pong effect.
Yeah.
On, right. There's a little bit of jumpiness, a little bit of
Right.
shiftiness. His touchdown run ended 4 yards out and 2 yards out, and he still managed to score.
Yeah.
Right. So
I will say
I'm not
Eckler's
saying-
21-day window is open, which is nice.
him, I want back.
Never returning a kickoff, but I want him back.
Don't need him on the kickoff return team. Need him available for the dink and dunk and the outlets, right? I think that three running back rotation is a good rotation to have this late in the season, and to have him back fresh is great because we know he can do it. Speaking of 21-day window, though, Jonathan Allen's return not so great, and I hate to say it because I'm an Allen fan, but
He was on a little bit of a pitch count.
But him and Payne, it doesn't look like they can coexist. Like they're doing the same stuff.
No. They do really well. They're not going to be the Aaron Donalds of the world or the Chris Johnsons of the world, where they're going to bust through and get the wreak havoc and get the sacks. That's never been their game, right? Their game, even from their Alabama days, has been hold the line of scrimmage. Don't let the O-line get into the secondary and block our linebackers. So the fact that you have Wagner still getting his 100 tackles, and the fact that you have Luvu doing all the things that Luvu can do,
disappeared too. It was probably
even
worst game of
having
the season.
Yeah, I mean, again, disappearing acts are going to happen, but you got to have the different guys that step up.
What I'm saying is, I feel like Allen tinkered with that mojo that they had been playing with in that front.
No. Allen allowed Johnny and Payne and the other guy, Day or whoever, to get a little bit more rest in that rotation. They're all kind of equal, and that's one of the reasons why we waived Fedarius Mathis. Like they're all sort of.
I didn't
exactly
mind Fedarius though. He never really like exploded, right? But like, I mean, I agree with what you said.
mind him because we didn't need him and we wasted a high draft pick on him, and that's why he's gone.
Oh, I mean, your boy's interviewing potentially now for the Jets job. I talk about stuff that it does make sense. I don't know what you can look at Ron Rivera's tape from his time in Washington and say like this is the guy. Unless he's the Rooney Rule, the DEI interview,
that's possible.
Whatever, maybe, but I don't get that. They had a good coach in what's his face,
Robert Saleh.
Like that dude could coach.
Yeah,
right. And then Aaron was like, "No, I can't coexist with him. I need this, and this." Well, that's what happens. You bend the knee to Aaron Rodgers. This is what happens to your franchise. I think.
Sorry, we just got a doink in the Texas-Arizona State game.
I'm happy.
I'm happy going to overtime.
The question that came in. This one came in from Tony. Would you rather play at the Eagles or at the Rams? So this is a kind of a loaded question because it takes into the seeding situation, right? And we'll talk about the number one overall here, but that doesn't really impact the Skins. If you can pick, right? If you finish in 7th, you're headed to the Eagles. If you finish in 6th,
you can only finish 6th as your highest because
then you're headed to the Rams, who I believe have already locked up their
Rams, potentially the Bucks.
Potentially Bucks
if the Rams lose,
but no Seahawks option here. So
no Seahawks option.
So it's either it's Bucks, Falcons. No. I'll
adjust this question.
Yes.
100%. I do not want the Eagles because
you're so wrong.
Hold on.
You're so wrong.
I don't want the Eagles because I don't want to play in Philly.
I want to play in Philly.
No. I want our Southern California boy to go to LA.
This is a bad take. It's a bad take.
Think about this. The Washington fan base out west. Think about that Cardinals game. They are out there out west. And LA
is going to be more than the people.
LA is not. LA has never been. No, Philly won't let our fans buy tickets.
Well, yeah, okay, all right. I see.
LA cannot fill a stadium with Rams fans, so you would have more of a home field advantage playing LA. Now, football operations. Do you want the Eagles or the Rams? I am terrified of the Rams.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm. You know what you have in AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. You know that you can kind of sort of match up with them, especially if Lattimore's back. Cooper Kupp and Puka scare the living crap out of me.
And Tutu will kill you.
They scare the crap out of me.
Kyren Williams,
Matthew Stafford,
yeah,
is not a fraud.
No.
Jalen is a fraud.
Yeah. I'd rather have Jalen push his way to, give him 2 touchdowns than see Stafford go off.
It's hard because we said it 2 podcasts ago. It's hard to beat a team 3 times, right? We got the one on the Eagles, but that really shouldn't have happened. As great as it was, let's be honest, it shouldn't have been a victory.
Little fluky.
It's a little fluky. I'll tell you, the harder question.
Would you rather go back to Tampa? If
that was going to say, the harder question for me isn't Eagles or Rams. It's Rams or Bucks.
I would rather
Baker's been kind of playing out of his mind right now.
But I would rather face the Bucks than the Rams.
I think the Bucks defense.
I think you're dealing with time travel, distance from home. I think you're dealing with McVay is he's just a better coach.
Yeah.
He's a better coach.
Yeah.
He's gonna have his team locked in and prepared. And I'd rather play the Lions. I'd rather play anyone except the Rams. Personally. That's
but the Rams they're just as fluky as us.
Yeah, but they're better. They have their quarterback is proven. I'm not gonna say he's better, but the quarterback is proven. Kyron Williams can
I think it comes down to
easy.
Matthew Stafford is not mobile.
Okay.
That helps us a lot.
Sure.
That O-line, they're not the best. The Bucks have a better O-line. The Eagles have a better O-line. The Rams O-line, you can kind of penetrate that. You might get a big game from Louvu with that line.
And Wagner kind of knows a little bit Stafford.
And that defense that defense of the Rams, there is no Aaron Donald, right? There is no shutdown corner that really scares you the way that the Eagles have. And even the Bucks terrible run defense, if I'm not mistaken, pretty solid secondary. I don't know how injured they are, but
I'll tell you why I want the Eagles. The reason I want the Eagles is because the Eagles don't want us. They don't want to deal with DC. I don't think LA cares. I think LA's happy to be there. And the Bucks, they would match up and basically say we beat them in game 1. Yeah, things are changed. But we can go get them again, right? I think they actually match up best with the Bucks. I think you have the personnel to slow Irving a little bit. I think if Lattimore is healthy,
Bucky doesn't scare me.
Evans should scare you, but I would rather have Lattimore, who knows Evans, face Evans than Lattimore, who doesn't know Puka or doesn't know Cooper, face them.
I don't know if I want the Eagles, man. That stadium's going to be hostile.
You agree with me
that
the Eagles don't want us?
I would agree that they probably want to face us the least. I will agree with that.
Yeah, because anytime you're teeing off against your division rival,
it's hard. It's naturally harder.
It's always going to be harder. And it's not like we beat them in week 3. We beat them like 5 minutes ago. So
yeah, that's true.
I think that's part of the reason why. But again, I mean, at this point, I'm gonna play the music. I don't care who we play.
That's true. We got January football, baby.
Right? It doesn't really matter, right? But
we got real January football.
Yeah, I mean, and they've earned it. I mean, they've absolutely earned it. The irony here is that you beat the Cowboys, you're already at 12. You beat them a second time, you'd potentially be at 13, right? Some of these balls that didn't go our way, but regardless,
the best part is you clinched. So even if you lose to the Cowboys, all you're getting is Eagles. They have a worse draft pick.
Worst you can do is Eagles, right?
Worst you can do is
right. Best you could do is potentially 6, and then either, like you said, I don't remember what the center
Rams or Bucks.
Yeah. So keeping it in the NFC here, who do you think is actually going to win the NFC North and the number 1 seed overall? I mean, Sunday night is like literal appointment television. Vikings, Lions. You win, and you're already in. But win and you get a bye.
Win and bye week is massive. It's more massive for the Lions than it is the Vikings because they had such an early bye week, and they are so injured on defense. They need that bye week. But because of how injured they are, I'm giving the push to the Vikings. I think
I'm not betting against the Vikings. I'm not betting against Darnold.
And I'm not betting like Justin Jefferson. Like, as much as I love Amon-Ra and Jameson Williams, just Jefferson is that's a wide receiver debate of 1A versus 1A. Justin Jefferson, like, I think it's fair to say Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase are in a different universe.
Yes.
And then there's everybody else.
They're the top of that. But Jordan Addison is very high on that list of that next tier. I mean, he is really, really good. He just is.
I mean, yeah, that's what happens when you have Justin Jefferson on the other side of the field.
Sure, and that's fair, right? But that combo, you got to go back to the Bengals when you had Chad and Houshmandzili, right? Like those were really good receivers that really know how to complement each other. The difference here is you also got Hawkinson, who's a good pass catcher out of the backfield or as a tight end.
They stack up so evenly, right? Like the boy wonder of KOC versus giant cojones of Dan Campbell, Laporta versus Hawkinson. Running back, Aaron Jones is solid, and then you have Sonic and Knuckles for the Lions. Honestly, like as much as I love Jared Goff, I kind of consider him equal in talent level as Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold was highly touted coming out of college.
I'm so happy you said that. Darnold, I mean, 4 seasons ago was a Jet. 5 seasons, sorry, was a Jet,
and then a Panther.
3 seasons ago, him and Baker were both Panthers.
Not last season
or last season. Sorry.
2 seasons ago.
And now he's not going to get MVP love, but man, doesn't he deserve a little bit? I mean, he came in and took over a team that was already stacked. I mean, he's not in the MVP conversation. However, the Vikings have the better defense.
Yes.
And that's why I'm going to pick them to win.
Yes. And more than that, I think, listen, Dan Campbell is amazing as a head coach, and he has 100% changed that culture in Detroit. But Dan Campbell's giant cojones, pride, I'm going for it on fourth all the time. He doesn't think through.
Ben Johnson's going to call one of these fake lateral fumble spill over yourself things, and it's going to backfire.
Yeah, I can see that too. But it's just, I don't think Dan Campbell has future, like whole game scenarios playing out in his head the way KOC does. I think KOC is 5 steps ahead in all of his coaching decisions of go for it on fourth, go for it for 2, go for it whatever. KOC is solid
personnel. He knew probably at the beginning of last season, regardless of Kirk's injury, he wasn't going to be the quarterback again.
Yeah,
like he knew that, right? Yeah. And Kirk, I'm not betting against the Vikings. I think I don't care if they played this game on the moon or in Mars or in Minnesota or in Detroit or anywhere else. The Vikings defense is better than the Lions defense. And in the end, I still believe that defense wins championships.
Yeah.
You don't need the Lions seem to consistently score 40 points and lose. The Chiefs haven't scored 30 all season and win, right? The Bills can get points, but they can also stop the other teams from getting points. The Lions have been leaky. The Lions also, I mean, to take it back a segment here, the Bucs beat the Lions.
Yeah.
By outscoring them. Jared Goff has had some spectacular games. He had a perfect game. And then 3 weeks later threw 5
interceptions. Yeah.
Right. So they are, I don't like the word luck, right? But as far as this matchup on Sunday night coming up, I'm betting the Vikings, and
it's a hard game to like. I'm not putting money on that game. It could go either way.
No, I actually think it'll be a very low scoring game.
Really? I don't think low scoring.
I think so. I think
barn burner.
Yeah, I think both coaches are going to try to basically turn it into whoever has the ball at the end wins, and the best way to do that is to kind of just grind it out, let the clock run your.
I'll say this: if Montgomery, who is potentially able to come back that game, can come back that game, and you really do have that Sonic and Knuckles of Gibbs and Montgomery versus Aaron Jones, who he has what they said it was like a thigh contusion or whatever he has.
Yeah.
If it's gonna turn into a trenches game, I think I go Lions because that O-line with Penny Sewell and that running attack and just I think that O-line is a little bit more prepared to go trenches battle. If somehow it turns into a barn burner and you're going passing, I think I'm giving the edge to Justin Jefferson and Darnold and just KOC's. It really comes down to KOC versus Ben Johnson, and I think KOC has it. I think he's going to have the edge.
Yeah,
Ben Johnson's a little gimmicky. He's really good, really creative.
Weird times, yeah. But the whole Goff fake fumble thing, and then the last week with Amon-Ra tossing a like it's cute and it makes the highlights, but oh man, like that's tough to watch, especially if it goes wrong.
Well, like you have to look at the last two games, right? So like the Lions, they beat the Niners, but for a while that Niners team that has been struggling all year had a little bit of life against that Lions defense. And if you can let the Niners look like the Niners of last year
Without their pieces, sure.
right, that's very concerning if you're a Detroit team. But on the same side, the Vikings let the Packers hang around and make a game out of it. Obviously, the Packers are a little bit stronger of an offense, but both of the it's going to be fascinating TV.
Yeah, I mean, and that game matters regardless of what happens in all the early games. So I'm glad that the schedule kind of worked out the way it did. By the end of the 1 o'clock games, we'll know where we are. By the time we get to Sunday Night Football, everything will kind of be settled. It's really just who's going to finish first and who's going to be the first 14-win team to finish fifth in the wild card in NFC.
Honestly, RIP to whoever has to play the 5 seed or whoever the 5 seed. Like, you're playing a 14-win 5 seed.
Yeah, most probably going to the Bucs.
Yeah,
which is
if it's the Falcons by some miracle.
If it's at the Bucs or even if it's at the Bucs or at the Rams, who's picking the home teams in those games against either of these guys? Nobody.
Yeah.
Unless it's weather, maybe in down in Tampa. But this question came in too. Would you rather, assuming the Bengals qualify for the postseason, would you bet the Bengals or the Chiefs to win the AFC?
If the Bengals get in, which is very not likely, I would give them win the AFC.
Yes.
We're talking over Ravens, Bills.
Over Ravens, over Bills, over Chiefs, over, I guess, Steelers.
I'm not worried about this. I don't think anyone's worried about the Steelers, but
I'd bet the Bengals. If they're hot and they get in, I know it's a long shot.
That offense is terrifying. But also
too good. It's too good.
Chase Brown's hurt, so they need to adjust that running game. That changes everything.
Burrow is too good to be ignored, and Jamar Chase
Burrow needs to be more in the MVP conversation.
If they make MVP is tough, FB, because it's the most valuable player.
It depends on how you define MVP.
It should be to their team.
Yes.
Right. Jaden is more valuable to his team than Josh Allen is to his team. Not by a lot, but he is. Mahomes is not as valuable to his teams. Again, it sounds stupid even if it's coming out of my mouth because of how good Pat Mahomes is. But these are teams with expectations and rosters that are competitive and looking to challenge.
It's hard to define what an MVP is because
if you do it statistically,
is anyone more valuable than Burrow?
Well, no one's paid more, and I mean, no one.
You could potentially. You like you said earlier, you could potentially say Lamar, but it's a wash because if Derrick Henry, he's not really in it anymore, but because he was in it for so long,
yeah, you can't.
Let's, and he's already got it twice. I think all the people that are voting are kind of done with Lamar being MVP. Josh Allen MVP.
The only reason I would say maybe is because the Bills are expected to have a down season, but the coaching staff is intact. The defense is largely intact. He's doing it without a legit number one.
I think receiver. Josh Allen's doing a lot with.
He's doing everything.
He probably has the least amount of weapons. Mahomes for sure is not an MVP candidate.
Mahomes right now has the most amount of weapons.
I mean, and he's doing the least with them.
Yeah, I mean they haven't scored 30 all season.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not.
I think Jaden technically stat for stat is better than Mahomes right now.
Sure, Mahomes. I mean, again, between the running back position is a little shaky over there, but they've got receivers, they've got real pass catchers on that team, and the defense is playing great, right? I'm not putting Pat in that conversation, but the Bengals to me, if they get in, they offensively they scare everybody because regardless of whether, doesn't matter in a dome or not in a dome, they will get points in bunches.
Big brain thinking from Andy Reid, though, saying he's going to rest all his boys against the Broncos.
Let the Broncos in.
It's Chiefs Broncos, right?
It's Chiefs. Let me double check here.
Is it Chiefs Broncos? Yeah, it's the Broncos have to win, and it's Carson Wentz that's going to have to go out there and beat the Broncos. big brains from Andy Reid saying, I'm going to rest everybody, because not only does that rest your players, but that essentially seals it that the Bengals won't get in because the Broncos aren't losing to Carson Wentz. That defense is not losing to Carson
I
Wentz.
think it also sets up
Pat
that the
Surtain is
Broncos-
not losing to Carson Wentz.
Yes.
I love you, Carson Wentz.
No,
He
you
had one great season. Like,
In
no,
Philly.
he's like, I hate the quarterback Carson Wentz. I like the guy Carson Wentz.
Okay.
Devout Christian, good guy all around. He's a good human. You're not doing diddly against any of these defenses.
Well, the Broncos do have a good defense, and if the Broncos win, I mean, we had this conversation. It feels like last week. Like the Broncos are a team nobody really wants to see either, because I mean, Knicks, they're not as talented, like top to bottom, of course, as the Bengals are. But Sean Payton is calling some really good offensive sets right now. Cortland Sutton is a legit receiver that doesn't get a lot of credit when
Mims has blown the top off the
absolutely,
defenses.
and the defense itself is pretty stout. I mean, they can ball, and if they're not going to get a home game, because then you talk about the atmosphere and mile high and blah blah blah. But I mean, they're an interesting team. If by some chance the Bengals get in, I would pick them to win the AFC, because I think they can go into Buffalo and win. They can go into Kansas City and win. They can go into Baltimore and win. I don't think you can say that about the Bills. Bills can't go into Kansas City and win. You can't say that about the Chiefs, although they don't have to go anywhere, right? Last year was the only time that the Chiefs had to travel to secure their spot in the postseason, and they won't have to do it this year. The Bengals can go into any of those cities and win.
Listen, the Bengals offense is terrifying. But that defense, there is a reason why the Bengals are in this position. It's because that defense cannot stop anybody consistently. So if you do have a Bills or a Ravens with Lamar and Derrick Henry, I don't know if that defense holds up. Obviously, like the AFC North matchup kind of plays a role if they ever had to face the Ravens. But that Bills team, I mean, even the Chiefs team, Pacheco and Hunt, like, that Bengals defense is very suspect, and they have the injured running back. So while I would love for that story to happen, I just don't see it happening. If I'm going to live in La La Land, I'm going to go far deep into La La Land, and I want to see a Knicks Jaden Super Bowl. That's what I want to see. I want to see a healthy Lattimore shore up this defense. Somehow we make it to the Super Bowl, and somehow it's rookie versus rookie, first time ever Super Bowl
88.
Just an insane historic rematch, but rookie versus rookie, franchise changing. The storylines for that is what I want.
I mean, I don't hate it. You're just, I don't know. I mean,
we're deep in La La Land.
You would need 3 upsets on both sides of the bracket.
But if you look at the NFC standings or the NFC seedings, right? I think I sent it in the group chat one time. There's like a very hypothetical, like, NFL script that can play out where the Bucks upset the Vikings or the Lions, right? And you knock one of those guys out. And then Green Bay very easily can knock out the Eagles, right? Or take it to the Eagles. It's not unrealistic to think they take out the Eagles. Then suddenly you have a Bucks, Commanders, Packers, and whoever the other 1 seed is, the Lions or the Vikings, right? If it's Green Bay versus one of the NFC North teams, Green Bay might be able to upset division game.
Sure.
Right. So there's this very crazy hypothetical situation based off seedings where those upsets aren't really as far-fetched as they may seem.
Yes.
It would be really interesting. It would be really, like, do you, like, if you get past that first round and dominoes fall where they fall, sure, why not us?
Well, I don't. I mean, it's tough, right? Like, why? I mean, Jaden has shown he can make any defense's day very long. Like he has consistently shown it. Terry has shown he can go and get 6 for 120.
Yeah. If Eckler comes back and you have suddenly B-Rob, Eckler, and C-Rod, right? If Lattimore is healthy,
football, you're going to run somebody ragged, right? I mean, that's why I wouldn't pick necessarily against the Ravens in any of these games, right? Because you have 2 running backs that are on the field 100% of the offensive plays in Lamar Jackson And the
Which
actual
is exactly what Washington has. More
That's
or
right.
less.
So if you turn these games into grind it out, long drive, sustained drive, beat them down, yeah, you can do it, right? What Washington doesn't have right now is consistent play action game, but that's okay.
But like it, and the conversation about Lattimore bust or not bust, it comes down to this, right? If Lattimore gets 100% healthy for
You get
wild
90.
card,
Sure.
for the wild card game, is there an offense that terrifies you? Obviously, there's going to be great matchups,
The Rams.
hard fought battles, but is there an offense that terrifies you? If Lattimore is 100% healthy,
If he's 100% healthy,
he can-
I
if
want
he
to play
can
the
post-
Bucks. I
if
want
he
to play the
can-
Bucks because he
Yeah.
knows him and Evans have been going at it for the last 6
I'm
years.
saying if he can post another 000 stat line,
It doesn't even have to be 000.
I'm just saying, just
But that's very lofty, right? If he gives up, even if he gives up 4 for 70 and a touchdown, that's actually okay.
yeah, just no blown coverages and no detrimental PIs.
No penalties and no
But
7 for 170.
even the Rams, any of these offenses, the Packers offense, who you wouldn't see till the championship, but any of these offenses, do they terrify you if Lattimore is 100% healthy?
Only
no.
the Rams.
That,
Only
but
the Rams. Just
but
because
here's
they
the
have
thing.
so many options.
But the whole conversation of Lattimore might be a bust, might not be a bust. Imagine, because Lattimore's done nothing regular season to get us into playoffs, right? All of the 11-5 has nothing to do with Lattimore, right? But suddenly, because of that move that we made at the trade deadline, the potential is that much higher. Because if you're going into any of these playoff games with BSJ, Iggy, Sanders still, and Mike Davis,
toast.
you're done. You're toast.
Toast.
But that potential of Lattimore, just the potential of Lattimore, changes the dynamics entirely.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you. He had one spectacular showing with a team that knows not to challenge him, and then
Right.
what my fear though is that people watch the tape on him during the Eagles game where Kenny Pickett was the quarterback.
But that Eagles game again,
anyway.
that brings me into the ref debate, and I hate the ref debate, but some of those PIs were not PIs.
I understand, but it
Yeah.
wasn't like it was Jalen targeting what's his face, Lattimore. It was Kenny Pickett.
Right, but Kenny Pickett was still
Also to all
first
the
round
stupid Eagles
draft.
fans, to all the stupid Eagles fans that were like, "Oh, congrats, you beat Kenny Pickett." What?
Oh, congrats, you beat Cooper Rush.
Yeah, and with Kenny Pickett. So, like, how do you have it both ways? Actually, well, we're talking about stupid fans. You were watching the game. I know you were on tape delay. Did you think the Falcons won when they kicked that field goal because of whatever NBC was pulling with the camera? Did it look like a good field goal?
My heart sank, and it looked good, but I'm not an idiot to celebrate before I see the refs put their hands up.
Yes, when the referees are walking towards the football, you realize, oh, that was some screen and TV magic. It did not go through. It missed by about 7 yards. But I mean, those videos, I got a kick out of those videos.
I mean, it was just that whole game. Zach Ertz, I think we talked about it when we signed him. I think you and I were actually very high on the Ertz signing.
Very high.
When we brought him in.
Sure.
And I love that he has proven his worth. I love that whatever his time in Arizona, however fluky it was, and he was injured and all of that stuff, I love that he has the Sam Darnold equivalent of a resurgence on a good team to show that he still has a lot of life and a lot of fight in him. I mean, what a stud. To have him in the red zone is just, I'm just so, like, Jaden is blessed to
his line.
that Cliff did that for him.
If you saw did you see all of the salary incentives that he
Yeah.
showed by catching his second touchdown?
Yeah, he made like a $750,000.
Yeah.
That game.
And honestly, go back to which game did he get knocked? Was it Eagles game or Cowboys? Maybe Cowboys game. Whichever game he got knocked out of, right? If he stays in that game, they might win that game.
I think it was the Cowboys game.
I think it was the Cowboys game, right? He got knocked out on like the 2-yard line. But he stays in the game. I mean, he is his favorite. The only knock I'll say is when Jaden misses him high over the middle of the field consistently. It happens with some regularity, right? And two of his picks this year were Ertz trying to reach and stretch and tip.
But I don't know if that's too much on Ertz or if that's too much on Jaden.
I'm not putting it on Jaden. I'm just saying in general that there's just a weird tendency to miss Ertz in the middle of the field high. I don't know. It's just something that I locked in on.
It's a strange anomaly, but it's gonna happen, right? It happens to everybody. It happens.
He's the perfect tight end for this team. 6-7
Yes.
yards catch, and if you're, keep running if you want, but no fumbles, no fumbling, no fumbling. I got one. Yeah, I mean they are. I mean, do you have a prediction? Do you think they win in Dallas on Sunday?
It depends on what DQ does when it comes to resting, or if he's going to play hard for the seeding. I think he said he's going to play hard for seeding. I think that's his thought, but we'll see. I don't think the Cowboys are as stupid as the Giants, and I think they're going to embrace the tank.
Yeah, well, the Giants. Oh my God, I don't understand, man. Like the conspiracy that I saw, or that I kind of formulated, or somebody put it in my head, and somebody incepted me with this. The Giants saw your boy Sanders go out there with the Giants cleats and basically lay a huge egg last Saturday, and then decided on Sunday, no, we need a win, so we're not forced to drafting him and hiring his dad to be the coach. And I like that conspiracy theory. I'm buying into that storyline because Shedeur is not going to be the answer at quarterback at the professional level. I just don't believe it. I'm not seeing enough.
You can buy into that storyline until you remember how stupid and inept the Giants front office is. Sorry, Matt the Met. But until you remember how stupid that front office is, they could have drafted Cam Ward. They didn't have to go Shedeur Sanders. But to drop yourself out of the top 5 pick, you set your franchise back 5-6 years.
Yeah. I mean,
just lose and then decide who you want. That's like the Bears deciding that they didn't want the 1 overall pick. Let's pretend they didn't get it from the Panthers. Let's pretend it was just theirs. That's them deciding they don't want the 1 overall pick because they can't decide between Caleb and Jaden Daniels. And then they miss on Bo Nix, Caleb, Penix, it's so stupid for them to win.
They also may have missed potentially on Bryce Young. Bryce Young has played great down the stretch for the Panthers. Yeah. That guy took a 2-3 game leave of absence.
That's exactly what he needed.
Watch the red rifle kind of get in there and just sling it. They got rid of Deontay Johnson. Did nothing after Andy Dalton was pulled. Went to the Ravens, caught 1 pass,
and they let him go
from the team, and they cut him. Right, so I mean, props to the Panthers, which is crazy to say, but Bryce Young has looked really, really good down the stretch.
That team,
they're not that far away.
Like Canales is coaching a good team. He's building.
He is, and it makes you wonder
there. And they could essentially. They have crappy ownership, but he could get that Dan Campbell grit culture built for that Panthers.
How much better is that defense if they had stuck it out with some of the studs that they let walk in this offseason?
Yeah, if they kept Chin and Luvu.
Absolutely, right? Yeah. So like it's interesting to see what they've been able to do down the stretch. They don't need to. I think you go back in time 4 or 5 weeks, 6 weeks ago. Bryce Young, we'll see, is he the answer at quarterback? I think right now, if you're the Panthers, you're not targeting a quarterback. Do you disagree? I'm not looking at quarterback.
I think this draft they can fill some very obvious holes, but I don't know if they feel that they won the trade with the Bears, but I don't think they're as upset about it as they were started the season.
If Caleb ends this season with another dud performance, whiny and complaining,
he shouldn't even play.
I'm just saying, it like right now, if you're just evaluating those 2 quarterbacks in a vacuum, Caleb isn't coming out on top.
Listen, I'm not going to put the Bears season on Caleb, and I think he still has a very high ceiling. But I will say this. Seeing Jaden's presence, sideline presence, post-game interviews, calmness to him, maturity to him, not panning over to sitting sloped on the bench and all these weird things that Caleb does. Like, let's go into terrible mindset for a second. Let's pretend that this offense with Jaden has been struggling all year and we didn't catch any footing. And it was a 5-win, 6-win season that everyone is expecting the Commanders to have. I don't think you have some of the narratives that Caleb has with Jaden.
Sure. I agree.
He has that maturity to him. And that's my biggest complaint with Caleb is that, like, look, man, you're talented, but you cannot be this meme generating sideline distraction.
Yeah.
When your franchise is already in disarray, like you cannot be that leader. And just seeing Jaden, obviously it's easier with the winning, but just seeing Jaden, like even through his injury and even through some of the October losses, November losses with the Eagles and the Steelers and all of that, like he's just a get back to work, just
He has
amazing professional.
No emotion.
Yeah, and it's exactly what you need, because people forget about this, but the DC media market is one of the bigger markets because it's such a powerful market. And DC news is national news. That's just how it goes, right? And you cannot have, and that was kind of the thing.
It's also nice to see this playing out in a positive, right?
Yeah.
When it's DC news is national news, and when it's all negative news, puts the fans of the team,
right,
like us, right, in a very difficult spot where it's not, oh, what team do you cheer for? And you say Lions. Oh, well, they've been bad for 100 years, but that's it. There was embarrassment with the franchise.
Yeah,
and
you're seeing it now.
I want to talk about them.
You're seeing it now. The Pro Bowl voting outcome came out. Commanders are littered all over it. This fan base came to life. They went out. They voted for Pro Bowl. Like it's huge.
But the team is
Sleeping
on
Giant
national,
is awake.
The team is on national TV and making new fans. When you beat the Bears in the dramatic fashion that you did, when you beat these other teams, most notably or most recently Sunday against the Falcons, when you win in this dramatic fashion and the eyeballs are on you, you make fans. I
think Sunday night's game was the highest viewed Sunday night game of the season. Obviously, next week's will probably wipe that out, but
sure,
the sleeping giant of this fan base, just everything has been, like, even the RFK stuff, everything has been trending up. Sure. And if this fan base gets fully awake, if they get one miraculous playoff win, if this fan base fully wakes up,
but to have your two most dramatic wins of the season in your building, is a huge deal, right? Like FedEx, it's extremely unlikely that FedEx will host a playoff game. I know there's a very strange scenario where they can end up in the 5th seed or 6th seed. It would play out your crazy scenario.
It would be NFC Championship versus the Packers, essentially.
Whatever, right? I mean, it's impossible. So you're putting that tarp down, like the stadium is closed effectively, right? And the last memory for the season is Jaden throwing a touchdown, bullet to Zach. I mean, huge for the fan base. And when the next time we see that building, which by the time September rolls around, we could be talking about an RFK deal that's in place. And fans basically saying, I want tickets to RFK when they're available to me, which means I need to buy tickets now.
Yeah.
Which means you legit have home field back, like for real back.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, it's infectious. I was at the Wizards game this past Monday with the family. Jaden doesn't miss many Wizards home games. I don't know if you're aware of this, but he's always there. And the second, I mean, they didn't just put him on the big screen and everybody wave at Jaden. They did a full highlights package from the game on Sunday night.
I heard Cap One erupted.
I mean, it was as if the team was going to take the court.
I love it.
Play pickup. So it's what he's doing. Like whoever is doing the media coaching for Jaden, doing a very good job.
Yes.
Right. Very good job. He's not doing the Bryce bit where he's rocking
his mom / agent / smoke shows, crushing it too.
Well, he's there with his mom. I mean, who's going to cheer against him and his mom, right? Vinny Chase did this with Aquamom once upon a time, but it's literally the opposite of what Bryce Harper was doing here when he was rocking the Cowboys hat in the box, and then the Golden Nuggets, not Nuggets, the Golden Knights.
Yeah,
the big Vegas. I mean, he's from Vegas. I get it, but just don't do anything because you're paid to play here, but,
right?
And actually, I don't know. Let's look at a little segue here, but.
Don't bring me into baseball. Okay.
No, I'm not doing baseball. Baseball was last week. Everybody complained anyway. But Ovi, 40 days after breaking his leg, FB, not just skating, playing and scoring.
Russian machine never breaks, baby.
Well, it broke and it just comes back like as if nothing happened.
It's
It's
insane that he can go under the radar this year of being however many goals away from the record and outperforming his age and how good the Caps are. Like Jaden Daniels and the team are like taking over all the headlines. This Caps team and Ovi, it's so beautiful to watch.
I need to read something to you for a reaction, please. This is from our friend Barstool at Barstool Nate. Ovi playing back-to-back games, 40 and 41 days after breaking his leg and scoring a goal in both, should forever disqualify Joel Embiid from ever making the Basketball Hall of Fame. I have never agreed with something more.
Yeah, I mean, Joel Embiid, his injury was like knee soreness. What was his injury?
Exactly.
Knee soreness? Come on, man.
Listen, we can do NBA talk another time. Ovi coming back from, I mean, if you remember the day he broke his leg, the injury day, he came out between periods trying to just skate and see if he could go with a broken leg.
Yeah.
So 40 days later, he's back and he's back to scoring. I mean, the team looks good. He looks good. I mean, all bets are off.
You gotta kind of give it to because the team is playing so well. I think it drove. Ovi was always going to try to come back on the ice, but I think it drove him even harder to come back and play because this team is really competing. They're up there in the East. They're up there in the Metro. They're true playoff hopes. They're rolling.
Yes.
It's and if you want to bring it back to football, the Jonathan Allen, the Austin Eckler, all the IR guys that are fighting to come back because this team is rolling. If this team is 6 wins, Allen's not coming back, right? Eckler's going to sit. He's going to bench himself for the season. Like you pull an Aaron Rodgers and you're like, put in Tyrod Taylor. I benched myself. Like there's no reason to fight.
Even saying it, like you can't even let the coaches.
Aaron Rodgers, dumbest. I watched the documentary, and then I kind of agreed with him. And then by the end of it, I was like, "You're just trash." Like you're just so frustrating of a human.
Who does he think he like? Is he a Hall of Famer?
He would have been if he took the Jets far.
But I mean, he's got one Super Bowl win to his name, right?
Yeah.
He left a storied franchise for a legacy franchise, which he can't win. I mean, the last year, not his fault, but he's running coaches out of town. And now on top of it, your team takes the field with their stupid boombox. They get
gangsters paradise
decimated by a division rival. And then you have the audacity in the post
1.2 QBR. If you post a 1.2 QBR, you're immediately not Hall of Fame.
I could post a 1.2.
Yes.
Because that means make one pass.
And take a knee for the rest of the game.
1.2 QB. I am capable. This is why I don't like the modern NBA. I can make threes. You know what I can't do? Is windmill dunk the ball. So when I tune into something and it's everybody windmill dunking the ball, I want to watch more of it. If it's just a 3-point contest, I can have a three. Well, you and I can go have a 3-point contest. There's literally nothing they're doing today in the modern NBA that you and I could not be coached.
It's Church League ball
to do.
It's Church League ball. Church League ball is actually more defense.
Well, yeah, because you're trying to steal the ball, even if it's from your teammate, to just get some more shots up, right? But
shout out Stevie.
But this quarterback play from Aaron, dude, like I can literally replicate what he's doing right now. I can't watch.
First of all, so refreshing that this Washington team is not being dragged down by Snyder shit anymore. Imagine if you're an 11-5 team. Imagine if you're an 11-5 team and Dan Quinn and somehow pretend Snyder's still here. Somehow he hires Dan Quinn and Peters.
And stupid Iran.
They never would have come here if Snyder was still here, but somehow that happens. Imagine you're an 11-5 team. You have Jaden Daniels doing all this stuff. And then instead of celebrating Jaden Daniels throwing a bomb to Ertz, you go to 11-5, you clinch playoffs. ESPN decides to drop a bombshell Snyder report about diddling cheerleaders, and he was caught with Diddy and like whatever. The fan, like, thank God we don't have to deal with what the Jets are dealing with Madden ratings and the Sun is making the decisions, and Aaron Rodgers is now going to be out, and Devontae Adams is out, and Breece Hall wants out, and Garrett Wilson wants out, and Sauce wants out, and
We no longer have to deal with it, but we have dealt with it.
Yes.
We paid our penance. Like, we did our time.
I think the rest of the league is happy that Washington is on the rise. And I think I heard it like 5 or 6 times. I took in so much media content this week.
Of course you did.
So much media. I think I heard it like 5 or 6 times. NFL Network, ESPN, FS1, Coward, all these people. The NFL is better when Washington is good.
Yes.
And nobody will deny that.
The legacy,
Washington is a competitive team.
Yes.
The NFL is just so much better when Washington.
The majority of your people live on the East and West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
No one really cares about the West Coast because of the time difference and they're weird to get on TV. So
if you look at just those East Coast markets,
it's New York,
sucks.
It's Philly,
good.
It's Washington,
good.
If these 3 teams, specifically, I mean the Jets maybe because they're New York as well, but the Giants, the Eagles, the Skins, these teams, if they're good, the NFL is
100%.
Because you could put them on at 1 PM and get ratings. You could put them on at 8 o'clock on a Sunday and get ratings. You could put them on Monday and get ratings.
Right.
Also, because Washington is so transient, you have fans here from everywhere. This market matters. Like media consumption matters, and the team being good, like okay. I mean, I saw it firsthand with the Wizards. There was a lot of Lakers jerseys, Knicks jerseys. They were playing the Knicks, Boston jerseys, because people are from wherever and they just want to go.
You go to a game, you put on a basketball jersey. That's all they think.
I mean, it would be great to have an actual home field, and we'll talk about RFK as it materializes a little bit more. I mean, I think the magic number FP is probably somewhere around like 65,000, 60,000. Keep it small, and 40 of them are going to be season ticket holders, right? So, like, that's the way you're supposed to do it. Like, that's how you should do it.
Yeah.
One of the other things that I heard that I really liked is no multi-game packs, right? You buy single game tickets. If it's not season tickets, you buy single game tickets. I think that's really helpful as well. A lot of the reason why people buy a pack is because that's the only way to get tickets, and then they end up offloading 2 of the 3 games. They only really wanted to go to that one, and blah blah blah.
Well, a big headline that kind of got drowned out in the lull of the offseason was Harris basically undoing all of the contract agreements that Snyder had set up with SeatGeek and with all the other websites to buy those packages, where the allocation was immediately going to corporations. Harris came in and undid that, and it went under the radar.
He also raised prices, right? But if you're raising
right now, is justified.
Sure, and honestly, I'll defend him in this too. If you're raising the prices but not making me buy 3 games at a time,
yes,
I'm okay with it.
If you're raising the prices and you're making the in-stadium experience, the parking, the food, the AV, all of it better.
It's funny you say that, actually, because Ted Leonsis has definitely suckered DC into giving him a new building and whatever. We talk about Cap One next time. But I went to that Wizards game on Monday. The arena is awesome. I mean, it doesn't feel like a 30-year-old arena.
No, not at all.
The new scoreboards are awesome.
You need to go to it during a Caps game, and then you really can appreciate Capital One.
My kids were dying to go back. They want to see it. And honestly, hockey games are more fun to take in, especially from the bleeds where we were sitting.
Especially right now, like when the Caps are rolling, that fan base is one of the best.
Yeah, it was probably 70-30 Knicks fans.
Yeah,
to Wiz, and Kuzma was very uninspiring on it's okay. I mean he's demanded a trade, so see you later. They should have traded him last year when they actually could have gotten a pick. What's he worth? A 2050 third round pick?
I don't want to talk Nationals, but that rebuild is going to go a little bit faster now. The Caps are good, Skins are good. I just don't understand how the Wizards are on like a planned 7-year rebuild. It makes no sense to me. Just rebuild the effing team.
Their young guys are not bad, though. I'll tell you.
I know, but why is the front office telling me it's going to take 5 to 6 years?
Because they can't attract free agents here. That's the problem. The NBA right now, you are not competitive based on drafted talent.
Yeah, but you just go a little bit, Ernie, and throw some money at half an MVP.
If they had just kept Russell Westbrook, right, then you would at least have a reason to go watch them.
Yeah,
he's a triple-double machine.
Apparently, Wall said he wants to come back. Put the skeleton of John Wall back on this court. The fans will come back for him.
The fans will absolutely come. They will absolutely come.
I don't know.
All right,
11-5, baby. Play the song.
I will. I appreciate you hanging out, FP. The show is DTC Defeating the Curse. FP, Happy New Year to you, sir.
Happy New
Hail
Year.
to the Redskins. We'll do it again next week. John actually is dying to come on. He's listened to, I think, every show we've ever posted. So he's rounding 350.
I'm ready.
He's a big 980 guy, right? So we need to be prepared to deal with overload.
Just don't invite Pete from Philly back. I'm done with him.
I don't think he's back in the country yet, and frankly, if we're matched up against the Eagles, I may want to get in here. Maybe after the win.
We'll see how it goes and then bring him on. I'll pour a little salt in his wound, but I don't want to actually debate him.
Pour a lot of salt in his wound. But honestly, it sucks that Saquon's not going to go for it. But whatever, not our problem.
Yeah.
Not our problem. Happy New Year, FP. My name is Joe. The show is DTC Defeating the Curse. You can get this podcast wherever you get your podcast. Just search for DTC or Defeating the Curse. Spotify, Apple, TuneIn, Alexa, whatever. It's available everywhere. You can email us anytime at defeatingthecurse@gmail.com. Anonymity is guaranteed. We do not broadcast names. And if you want us to, it's only the first name. So you got to listen for it. You can also text us anytime, or not text, sorry. You can tweet or X us. I don't even know what the correct term is. Anytime, we're happy to engage. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube as well. Thank you for hanging out with us. Happy New Year. Cheers all around. Hail to the Redskins. We are out.